It's hot, it's humid, and it's Florida. And right now is the time of year that if you are growing vegetables in Central Florida, like nothing can kill your confidence, nothing can make you want to quit more than the summertime. Like, I know it, you're feeling it. Unless you've gotten to that level where you're able to do that really good succession planning, you know what plants to get ready for the summertime. You're having your doubts. Your tomatoes are looking sad. Your broccoli's basically died out. Pests are taking over a bunch of stuff. You've got mildew and mold and like, ugh. And then just to top it off, you get something like I had last weekend, which was, here comes Tropical Storm Elsa / Hurricane Elsa, depending on the hour of the day. And then that just wipes a bunch of stuff out. But like, let's take a moment. I want to just take a moment and take you through some success, because this year has been better than ever for growing food in my yard. I started off making like 100 pounds, and then last year I was shooting for 250, and I ended up growing 320. And here we are at the beginning of the year, and guess what? I've almost hit 300 pounds, and we're just in the middle of summer. So let's talk about what's been going well, what's not going to plan, and what are we just gonna like accept that we're in summer and it's just gonna be a minute before we get back on track. Okay, let's put our sunglasses on. Let's work on picking some tomatoes, you and me. So you all may remember, it was like January, I put out a video where I was like how I grew my 300 pounds. And then I talked about like, here's my game plan for the year. Here's how much I think I'm gonna grow of each different type of food, and it's gonna equal like about 500 pounds. That was the goal for the year, which I'm so excited to say. Like, here we are right at the beginning of July, and like, hello, already, like, I'm just like a pound away from 300, which is insane. This is amazing. This is great. I'm super excited about it. So let's get into the things that have gone really, really well. So number one for pounds of food so far this year, like a whole third of it, 110 pounds, papaya. The papayas have done amazing. The original papaya tree, which is still up over there in the garden, has put out that whole 110 pounds, and it's grown 20 feet since we put it in. The other thing is I've got 2 other papaya plants that are growing right now, and this one already has put out its first papayas. So even though we've already gotten 110 pounds, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have so many papayas. And we've harvested fully ripe papayas. We've done the things that you guys recommended with getting green papayas, and we're eating papayas just like all the time. So I think this plant, could we end up with like 200 pounds by the end of the year? Yes, and I don't know what I would do with it. So we'll have to figure that out. But one of the things that my husband figured out then is that smoothie that we always do, well, instead of buying frozen strawberries, we've been using frozen ripe papaya. So now we're not even buying frozen strawberries anymore. So that's been really, really exciting. So the winning plant, the plant that I didn't know how much would come out of it, I think maybe I planned for like 50 pounds for the year, already has overachieved beyond expectation. So yeah, that's a big win for the year. And we still got half a year to go. Now let's talk about the bananas, because when it came to bananas this year, we were thinking 225 pounds, but we are not even close to that. So far, we've harvested about 35 pounds of bananas, but that's actually not to be unexpected. See, last year, even though we grew like 125 pounds of bananas, most of that came in like October and November of the year. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a lot of bananas. Now, is it gonna be 225? I have no idea. But we already have a whole nother rack of bananas coming out of one grand name. These ones will probably put out their first bunches this year. So if I was gonna do like just a guesstimate of 40, 40, 40, that's 120 pounds just there. Plus we've got, of course, the dwarfs. So maybe maybe. So 140 plus 35. So we could end up at 175. I think we're gonna for sure beat last year, but the question is will we make it all the way to 225? But I think if you are one of the people who's like a Florida, you've got your own urban Florida homestead, well, you may be sitting here thinking, okay, so what does that mean? Well, if you've gotten bananas started, you still have a chance that you're gonna get your bananas before the end of the year. So if you're doing similar to me where you're keeping track, know that usually getting stuff through the winter and the spring month is not like their ideal. But now we're hitting their like much loved temperatures, the climate, weather. So I would expect people who have bananas, it's more late summer and then into fall. Latest early winter, you're gonna have lots of bananas too. So I'm excited. We can still hit our goal and have almost, hopefully, because that was the whole reason for 225, was a year worth of bananas in the freezer. Now, one of the other big pound foods that we wanted to go and have was gonna be sweet potatoes. And similar to bananas, they're tropical plants. So I would always expect that once they go through those summer months is really gonna be when like, yes, they're gonna put out more pounds than the harvest that they go, if they're doing it like winter into spring. I wouldn't expect as many pounds. So already so far this year, I think we did 45, 47 pounds of sweet potatoes with our first round of harvest. And you can see the area that we were harvesting, like what was it, a month ago? Already sweet potatoes are taking off. And I haven't even relayed mulch in this area, which I'm gonna do in the next like month or two. So that will really help us get some really good tubers. Plus, I want to do an experiment where I do sweet potatoes inside containers. I've been doing a little bit more container gardening with my mom. She had brain surgery last year and we were trying to give her something that she could do at her condo with my dad. So we did a tomato plant. I'm not making a video about it, we just did. But I want to try doing sweet potatoes and then give her some sweet potatoes to also do. So I'll be trying that out. So I think getting the other 55 pounds is definitely doable for this area. But I do need to get mulch down, give some really good layering so that these guys can really take off and really fill in the whole area. So yes, another 50 pounds, yeah, but already 45, so that's exciting. Oh, and before I forget, one of the other goals was to do 25 pounds of sweet potato greens. So you would think with all the harvesting we've done for our smoothies, because I was guesstimating that that was kind of how much we were gonna end up needing, is that we probably would have done about 12, 13 pounds by now. But I don't even think we've done 5 pounds. And it's not because we aren't using them. I think more of the thing is that a baby spinach leaf versus a baby sweet potato green, these are just more dense. So we haven't felt the need to use as much as we probably would like by volume as we would with spinach. So we're using way less of this, which isn't bad, it just is. So I guess that's a thing. Now, if you remember from that video, I also talked about like one of the other big things that I was wanting to get, but I thought was a really big stretch if we were gonna hit this number, was 50 pounds of mulberries. But while we had only done 26 pounds last year, we did 35 pounds this year when we did our spring harvest. So that's really exciting. We're already doing better year over year with how much it's producing. And the exciting thing is I was hoping we would get that second flush. And while we're not getting like a huge flush like we were in the winter going into springtime, we are definitely getting berries. So do I think like, could that 35 become maybe 40 pounds? Maybe, which yay. And next year we're gonna have a whole nother mulberry tree that I already propagated. So yeah, like that's really cool. So 35 pounds on mulberries. Now, one of the things that I wasn't really planning for it to be lots of pounds, I think I just kind of threw a like 50 pounds of just stuff for the rest of the garden to hit that 500 pounds. Well, one of the big things was that I was surprised we got so much because it's really light is lettuce. We got 20 pounds of lettuce when we were in the winter time, kind of heading into early spring. So I know for sure when we get into next year's winter crops, I want to be planting a lot more lettuce. And also what it did is it got us eating a lot more salads, which was really cool. So honorable nominee come mid-year is gonna be lettuce. Okay, don't mind this area because I totally just took out all the lettuce because I let it go to seed. But I'm excited for that because that means those seeds will probably do better in my garden than the ones that I use, which came from who knows where and may not do as well in Florida. So hopefully we get more harvest next year. Another honorable mention, and only having one round of harvest of it, is tomatoes. I've already gotten 20 pounds of tomatoes, and they're all small tomatoes. Well, except for a couple of the big ones. Now you may ask, well, what type of tomatoes did you grow? Well, that's the thing. I put in seeds that were labeled yellow pear, and I put in seeds that said sweet 100. And then I put some ones in that said early summer. And the yellow pears were supposed to be yellow, and of course the others were supposed to be red. And then I ended up with a whole bunch of yellow pear-shaped small tomatoes, but they were all red. And the sweet 100s, well, a lot of them were more of this orangey color, so that was unique. And those large red tomatoes I was gonna get, well, they were all orange and really sweet. So I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe we had some cross-pollination, but like 20 pounds is still 20 pounds. I just noticed something. This must be the okra. I planted okra like last weekend and right here. And I spaced them all out. Yeah, oh, the okra may come in. It said space them 3 feet apart. I don't even know how far apart I put them. And I also put some along the arches because I know it gets taller. And with the winds through tropical storms, I figured like it might need some support. And the tomatoes are starting to look a little like, Oh, and another thing that's exciting about tomatoes for the back half of the year is Bob Ashley, thank you so much, sent me seeds for Everglades tomatoes. So I want to do some experiments of starting some in summer, some in fall, some in spring, maybe even some in winter, and kind of see how it does through the different seasons when they're started at different times, because it's supposed to be a tomato that can go pretty much year round in Central and South Florida. So I'm excited for that. Yay! And some other honorable nominees is the scrap onion or onion scrap project. We got some really great onions. Plus I got onion seeds and little onion starts from these plants. So we've been having a great time with the onions. Other plants that were kind of unexpected, like fun things to do, but I don't know if I would do them again, was eggplant. I may start from some seed, but those have been great. We've had some really good dishes. Oh, Ben's been like upping his game on cooking, so I've been really enjoying. He's been figuring out, like learning how you can just cook vegetables, like, cause obviously I just bring in stuff and it's like, here's 1 pepper, 2 eggplants, here's an onion, I don't know. And he's been figuring it out. And he's been doing a great job using all the almost 300 pounds we've brought in. Cause that can be one of the challenges when you have like a Florida homestead, is like you got all this food coming in, but it's coming in at different times at different amounts. So having the ability to just be really flexible on what you can make is a good one. So some other fun things that are happening in the garden right now. Well, one, look at my sunshine mimosa path. Isn't it cute? Look at my little pink flowers here. They are super, super cute. And another thing that's growing up is cucumber plants. I haven't got any cucumbers yet, but I'm excited. They're really liking being combined with the tomato plants. So they've definitely got some pest stress, but this has been a really fun experiment. I started them late this year, but we're gonna roll with it. And what I've seen with the arches is generally when it comes to the cattle panel trellis arches, is this semi-shade area does really, really well. Any of the areas that are full sun all time, they're just too stressed out. So I'm gonna be working on how to create a bit more shade. I might be using papayas for it, who knows, but we'll figure that out. Some other things I'm really looking forward to come this fall is, well, and they're doing really good, these are the Hise peppers. I think I mentioned them before. My neighbor Rosie and Ray, they gave them to me. I think they're from Puerto Rico or Cuba. The peppers, not them, but I think they're also from Puerto Rico, which isn't really important at this point, but these seem to be doing really, really well with the heat. I've got some jalapenos started, and I tried to start filling in kind of the area that the broccoli died out, and I've got some of the calypso beans that I had originally planted in the spring or winter, or I don't remember when I planted them, but I had calypso beans from that harvest, so I've replanted them because those come out of the Caribbean. So I really wanted to try to get some of those tropical plants going, because even though I've been a bad planter this year, like, let's try to still take advantage of the season. So the calypso beans seem to be doing well, while our Cherokee Trail Tier black beans are kind of like, they're doing actually okay, but they're not doing great. So I wanted to see if I can kind of challenge some of the plants that originate out of the Caribbean area and see what we could get. So some exciting stuff there too. So I hope that helps you on your urban homestead get re-inspired as we go through the summer month. It's not too late here in Florida to get some vegetables going. It's just, you have to do it a little different than those northerners, right? Focus on plants that come out of the tropics, have origins in the Caribbean or other subtropical, tropical places. Those are what's gonna do best. So if you're thinking about planting stuff and you need some ideas, think about bananas, sweet potatoes, roselle, okra, cowpeas, and even things like if you can get something like an ahice pepper, or, and I don't even know where you would get that, but like find a Ray and Rosie, maybe they have some too. But there's still stuff that you can get started right now. It's just the classic kind of northern vegetable gardens. We just need to take a pause on that until we get to fall, and then we can come back and get more tomatoes going and try other things back on these cattle panel trellises and some of the other classic plants that most people think of when they think of vegetable gardening. So I hope this has you re-inspired. Any self-doubt that you were having about your summer Florida garden, you kind of set it aside for a moment. Know that this is probably one of the more challenging seasons to do anything that's classic, but it doesn't mean you can't grow something. It's just a little bit of know-how, and you too can be bringing in pounds and pounds of harvest for you and your family. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.